Recording in progress.
Cloud recording has started. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to today's hybrid New York City Council stated meeting. At this time, will all panelists please turn on your videos. To minimize disruption, please place electronic devices to vibrate or silent. Thank you for your cooperation. We are ready to begin.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I have your attention, please? At this time, please place all electronic devices to vibrate. Quiet on the floor, please. Quiet on the floor. Mr. Majority Leader.
Good afternoon and welcome to the stated meeting of June 16th, 2022. Majority Leader Keith Powers. I'd like to thank everyone here for joining us today. If you'd like to follow along, the agenda for today's meeting is posted on the City Council website.
Please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance.
All rise.
Thank you. Please call the roll call.
Abreu,
Present.
Ariola,
Present.
Aviles,
Presente.
Ayala,
Here.
Barron.
The Black Panther is here with two Gray Panthers next to me, but I'm here.
Noted. Botcher,
Here.
Brannon,
Here.
Brewer,
Here, what about me?
Brooks Powers,
Present.
Caban,
Present.
Carr,
Present.
De La Rosa,
Here.
Dinowitz,
Present.
Farias,
Present.
Feliz,
Presente.
Gennaro.
Here.
I'm sorry, Gennaro?
Here.
Okay, good.
Sorry.
I was just making sure. Gutierrez,
Presente.
Hanif,
Here.
Hanks,
Present.
Holden,
Here.
Hudson,
Here.
Joseph,
Here.
Kagan,
Present.
Krishnan,
Here.
Lee,
Here.
Lewis,
Present.
Marte,
Present.
Mealy,
Present.
Menon,
Present.
Moya,
Present.
Narcisse,
Present.
Nurse, Osei,
Present.
Palladino,
Present.
Ressler,
Here.
Richardson Jordan,
Present.
Riley,
Present.
Rivera,
Present.
Salamanca,
Present.
Sanchez,
Present.
Schulman,
Here.
Stevens,
Here.
Ung,
Present.
Velasquez,
Present.
Vernikov,
Present.
Williams,
Here.
Juan,
Present.
Yeager,
Here.
Borelli,
Here.
Majority Leader Powers,
Here.
Speaker Adams,
Present.
Majority Leader, we have a quorum.
Thank you. We will now have today's invocation, which will be delivered by Pastor Tiffany Triplett Henkel, the Executive Director of Metro Baptist Church, which is located at 410 West 40th Street in Manhattan. Welcome.
Divine light and weaver of justice, we give thanks for this day, for this session, and for the gift of serving and advocating for others. Remind us all of our kinship with one another and with all of nature, so that we might live, work, govern, and engage in a spirit of abundance rather than scarcity, so that all may have enough and know that they are enough. I give thanks for these council members and staff and for the unique and important skills and perspectives that they bring to this body and thus to our city. Renew them in mind, body, and spirit. Give them boldness to perform their duties with integrity. Grant them discernment when righteousness is ambiguous and decisions are complex. Grant them courage when virtue is risky and truth is unpopular. And finally, may they find joy and fulfillment in uplifting the most vulnerable in our midst. Remind each of us of the ways we hold power in systems, and let us engage that power to reverse the tide of oppression. We recognize in this great city that there is a great divide and disparity between the have and the have-nots. And remind us how much that grieves you, and remind us that it does not have to be. Let us remember that none of us are whole unless all of us are whole. And let us get to the work of wholeness. And during this month of Pride, may we give thanks for the beautiful diversity of humanity and all creation. Let us rejoice that we live in a city that celebrates individuality and uniqueness of identity, knowing that with each unique expression, we are granted a more holistic view of the divine. And may we continue to work for equality, dignity, and access for all. Spirit of wisdom, guide these coming moments in this chamber. May compassion, truth, and justice ever be our guide. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Thanks for being here today. I'm going to now call on Councilmember Eric Bottcher to spread the invocation on the record.
Thank you, Majority Leader Powers, and thank you, Reverend Henkel, for that beautiful invocation. Reverend Tiffany Triplett Henkel is the pastor of Metro Baptist Church and executive director of Rauschenbusch Metro Ministries in Hell's Kitchen, where she's been a resident and community leader for the past 17 years. At Metro Baptist, Reverend Henkel helps operate a renowned food pantry that's partially supplied by an incredible urban farm on the rooftop of the church. Her spouse is a small business owner in Hell's Kitchen, and they're the parents of 2 children in New York City Public Schools, Hudson River Middle School, and Midtown West. I make a motion for unanimous consent to spread the invocation in full upon the record.
Thank you, Councilmember Bottcher. We'll now have the adoption of the minutes by Minority Leader Joe Borelli.
Thank you. I move that the minutes of the stated meeting of May 19th, 2022 be adopted as printed.
Thank you, Minority Leader. We now have messages and papers from the mayor.
M75 and 76, City Planning Commission appointments.
Rules, privileges, and elections.
M77, Board of Standards and Appeals appointment.
Rules, privileges, and elections.
Communication from city, county, and borough offices.
None.
Petitions and communications.
None.
Land use call-ups.
M78, the Lirio, 806 9th Avenue.
Coupled on call-up vote, I would now ask that the clerk take a roll call vote on today's land use call-up.
Abreu.
Aye.
Ariola.
Aye.
Aviles. Ayala.
Aye.
Barron.
Aye.
Botcher. Brannan. Brewer.
Yes.
Brooks Powers.
Aye.
Kaban.
Aye.
Carr.
Aye.
De La Rosa.
Aye.
Dinowitz.
Yes.
Farias.
I vote aye.
Feliz.
Aye.
Gennaro. Gutierrez.
Aye.
Hanif.
Aye.
Hanks.
Aye.
Holden.
Aye.
Hudson.
Aye.
Joseph.
Aye.
Kagan.
Aye.
Krishnan.
Aye.
Lee.
Aye.
Lewis.
Aye.
Marte.
Aye.
Thank you. Mealy.
Aye.
Menon.
Aye.
Moya.
Permission to vote on all land use call-ups and general orders.
Go ahead.
I vote aye.
Thank you. Narcisse.
Aye.
Nurse.
Aye.
Osei.
Aye.
Palladino.
Aye.
Wrestler.
Aye.
Richardson Jordan.
Aye.
Riley.
Aye.
Rivera.
I would like to vote aye on all land use call-ups and request unanimous consent to also vote aye on all coupled general orders and resolutions.
Got it.
Thank you. Salamanca.
I would like to vote aye on all call-ups, and with permission, I would like to vote on all coupled items on the general order calendar and all resolutions. I vote aye on all. Thank you.
Thank you. Sanchez.
Aye.
Schulman.
Aye.
Stevens.
Aye.
Ung.
Aye.
Velasquez.
Aye.
Vernikov.
Aye.
Williams.
Aye.
Juan.
Aye.
Yeager.
Aye.
Aviles.
Aye.
Thank you. Gennaro.
Aye.
Thank you. Borelli.
Aye.
Powers.
I vote aye.
Speaker Adams.
I vote aye.
Today's land use call-ups are adopted by a vote of 51 in the affirmative and 0 in the negative. We will now have communications from Speaker Adrian Adams.
Good afternoon, everyone. As a reminder, masks are encouraged to be worn throughout the stated meeting and council chambers, and let's continue to take the necessary precautions to stay safe. Today, we're voting on several legislative, land use, and finance items. Before I begin, I want to thank each and every one of you for your hard work and the countless hours spent on negotiating and deliberating on our budget. This is our first budget as a new city council, and it was not always easy, but we are making major investments for New Yorkers in our collective recovery from the pandemic. I've said before that the council's work on the budget does not end here because there is more work to do to ensure our communities have the increased investments they need and deserve to become safer, healthier, and stronger. And I am deeply appreciative of you and our entire staff for delivering this historic budget. And yet we surely know there is still unfinished business. The school funding issue is at the top of our priorities and has been highly contentious, so I'd like to take a second to address it. We all care about our districts, particularly the young people and students in our communities. We understand how the pandemic has impacted their education and well-being, our teachers, schools, staff, and parents. The care and passion we feel about our districts and our young people means we all have more in common than we may realize. As a body and city, we need to work together to ensure this issue of great importance to our communities is resolved. I know the strength of this body, when united, can and will deliver the results our local schools need. We know that when the school budgets came out, it became imperative that we had to address it. That's why we brought it into budget negotiations and elevated its importance, even though it became clear the budget process would not be an effective vehicle. Despite our increasing city funds for our schools by more than $700 million, we know the challenges within these recently released school budgets. We face a real challenge. Billions of dollars in federal funding tied to stimulus dollars are running out. That's a fact. And this is a problem we need to come together to solve. I'm committed to leveraging the power of our body to support us in solving this issue. With the leadership of our education chair, Councilmember Rita Joseph, and all of you, I want this to be an issue that we address side by side with our parents, teachers, students, advocates, and other education stakeholders. Arguments back and forth without tangible solutions do not advance progress. Progress comes from rolling up our sleeves and uniting to get to the core of the issues. Over the upcoming weeks, that's what I want us to do, what I am going to do, and what we're committed to do, to support you in representing your communities and schools and advocating for what they need. I hope that can be something that we work on and are committed to collaborate on as a body. And as we as a city council will fight for exactly what our students need. Now I want to take a moment to acknowledge that our city has lost a fellow New Yorker to workplace and traffic violence. Earlier this month, 45-year-old Robert Godwin, a livery driver, was driving in the Bronx in Councilmember Stevens' district when a speeding hit-and-run driver slammed into him. We pray for Robert's family and friends and stand with our workers in advocating for safer streets and working conditions. This weekend, we will observe Juneteenth, a holiday commemorating the end of slavery in America. Juneteenth is a very deeply meaningful day for me, my community, and all New Yorkers. It serves as a time to reflect on the path towards liberation, equity, and justice for Black communities, and some of that we still have to accomplish as a country. For the first time this year, though, Juneteenth is officially a city holiday, allowing us to fully celebrate the emancipation of Black people in this country and commit to securing equity and freedom for our people. I hope that everyone will attend a local Juneteenth celebration in your communities. June is also African American Music Appreciation Month, and yesterday, I was overjoyed to join the Black, Latino, and Asian Caucus to once again celebrate and pay tribute to legends and pioneers of Black music and culture. As a member of this body, this was my 5th time attending this great event, and I must admit, as I did yesterday in front of many of you, that I truly was starstruck with my colleagues as we honored greats like Patti LaBelle, Ralph McDaniels, Dougie Fresh, Busta Rhymes, and Fat Joe, who somebody says is Skinny Joe now. As someone who grew up in Hollis, Queens, this is the harmony and pulse that raised me and inspired me to develop a lifelong love of music. Let's continue to uplift the legacy of artists, talent, and brilliant creators during African American Music Appreciation Month. Sunday is Father's Day. We celebrate, let's applaud the fathers in here. Woohoo! We celebrate all of our fathers to be, grandfathers, and father figures who play an integral role in our families and communities. Our fathers are role models for our children and set an example for the next generation. To all of the fathers who have shaped the lives for the better, including my wonderful husband, Jay, and my dearly departed daddy, Irvin James Eady, I miss you, Dad, with every beat of my heart. Fathers, we thank and salute you on your special day. Happy Father's Day. I also would like to announce, for those of you who do not know, our dear Lance Pallavi will be moving on, who is not here today. He's with his wife and his baby. And Lance, if you're watching, we appreciate all of your work in the City Council for all of these years, and we wish you the very, very best in your next great thing. I also want to proudly announce, for those of you who aren't watching, we have a brand new first Deputy Chief of Staff. Her name is Faiza Ali. Yes, we do love Faiza. Faiza, we welcome you to senior staff, and we thank you for all of your years in this council, this amazing institution. Now let's dive into our agenda for the day. We will be voting on the following land use items: Sutter Place NPC, an application by HPD to facilitate the development of 4 new 100% affordable housing buildings on city-owned vacant land with approximately 46 units and commercial space in council members' Nurse and Barron's districts. EMS Station 17, new facility, site selection, acquisition of property, and zoning special permit for a new FDNY EMS station in Councilmember Stevens' district. 98 3rd Avenue rezoning will facilitate the development of an 8-story mixed-use building with 24 housing units, 8 of which will be affordable pursuant to MIH and ground floor commercial space in Councilmember Ressler's district. We acknowledge our staff, George Sarkissian, former Deputy Director of the Land Use Division. He had his last day at the council last week after 8 years in central staff. Arriving at the council in 2014 after serving as district manager for Manhattan Community Board 11, George was instrumental in helping to lead numerous neighborhood planning efforts, including the East Harlem Community Plan. Beloved by his colleagues at Land Use for his empathy, leadership, and sense of humor, George will be greatly missed by the council, but we wish him all the best as he moves on to become the new Chief of Staff at HPD. The council will also be voting on 3 resolutions to set the penalty interest rates for property tax owners who pay their tax bills late. These are regular votes taken every year by the City Council. Last year, recognizing the impact of the pandemic, the council voted to lower these penalty rates to the lowest level ever. These current rates mean that most homeowners are charged a penalty interest of 3% if they do not pay their taxes on time. This year, we are adopting rates that are only slightly higher than last year. These rates we are adopting today will be the 2nd lowest rates ever. We do not take the idea of raising penalties lightly, but we must do so to ensure that we have timely compliance of property tax payments. With interest rates rising and inflation up, keeping penalty rates unchanged would put the reliability of the city's largest revenue source at risk. So the step we're taking today is the one that balances penalties as low as possible while still ensuring that the city retains its proper cash flow to pay its bills on time and maintain city services. Now, while it is important that we set rates that encourage the timely payment of property taxes, we recognize that there are homeowners who are struggling and still need help. And in those cases, charging higher interest rates does not help resolve their issues. That's why today, I am directing my staff to prioritize the work of the reintroduction of Introduction 1262 and asking Chair Brannan to fast-track a hearing on this bill. This legislation would set up a process to allow the city to charge a minimal interest rate on small property owners who are behind in their taxes and engage with the city to manage their taxes by entering into a payment plan or deferral program. This will allow these property owners time and space to resolve their debt at a manageable pace and a minimal cost. We are also voting on introduction number 347, sponsored by Majority Leader Keith Powers, that will suspend the annual tax on state licensed retailers selling liquor, wine, or beer at retail for on or off premises consumption within the City of New York for the tax year beginning in June 2022. Currently, the liquor license surcharge is imposed on the distributors and commercial importers of beer and liquor. It is paid by all establishments in the city that require on-premise and off-premise liquor license, including restaurants, pubs, hotels, grocery stores, liquor and wine stores, entertainment venues, etc. The surcharge is imposed on the license fees paid to the state at a rate of 25%. SEBCO 4, the New York City Department of Housing Preservation and Development seeks a partial 40-year exemption from real property taxes for property located at Block 2697, Lot 18 and 19, and Block 2732, Lot 31, Bronx, Council District 17. SEBCO 4 is a tax exemption-only project of a HUD-assisted rental housing portfolio for low-income families in the Bronx in Councilmember Salamanca's district. SEBCO 4 project consists of 2 buildings, a conjoined 6-story apartment building and another 5-story apartment building with a total of 71 dwelling units. The project will refinance its existing debt, and the refinance proceeds will be used to rehabilitate the portfolio, addressing critical needs, including joist repairs, upgrade and replacement of deteriorated mechanical systems and equipment, and structural repairs as required within each building. None of the buildings in the portfolio have undergone significant capital repairs since their HUD-funded rehabilitations in 1982. We thank you to staff members Dr. Ray Majewski, Emra Adev, and Malcolm Butehorn. In addition, we will vote on the appointment of Leila Bozarg to the New York City Planning Commission. Thank you, David Seitzer, staff. Finally, we will be voting on the following legislation. We're voting on Resolution 247, sponsored by our Housing and Buildings Chair, Councilmember Pierina Sanchez, that would determine a public emergency requiring rent control in the city of New York. Continues to exist and will continue to exist on and after July 1st, 2022. We're also voting on Introduction 558A, also sponsored by Councilmember Sanchez, that would extend the rent stabilization laws. Pursuant to state law, to maintain rent stabilization laws, the council must periodically determine whether there is an ongoing housing emergency, defined as a vacancy rate of not more than 5% of the city's rental housing stock. If an emergency continues to exist, the council may pass legislation extending the city's rent stabilization law until the following determination is due. This determination is based on data and findings from a triennial survey known as the Housing and Vacancy Survey, or HVS, which is sponsored by HPD and the Census Bureau. These pieces of legislation declare the council's determination that there is an ongoing housing emergency and that the emergency will continue after the current expiration of the rent stabilization law, July 1st, 2022. Introduction 558A continues the laws that allow for residential rent regulation. It would also amend the expiration date of the New York City rent stabilization law from July 1st, 2022 to April 1st, 2024, which would put the HVS and renewal of rent regulation back on its ordinary triennial cycle. Thank you, Audrey Sun and Jose Conde, for your help as staff members. And finally, the council will also vote on Introduction 303A, sponsored by Councilmember Alexa Aviles. The bill would require the Department of Homeless Services and the Human Resources Administration to track and report certain data regarding rental assistance programs. In order to better understand the outcomes and impact of various rental assistance programs, additional data is needed. This bill would require that DHS and HRA track and report on outcomes of the City Fighting Homelessness and Eviction Prevention Supplement, or CityFEPS, a rental assistance program created for New York City residents. The bill would provide greater transparency around enrollment rates and utilization, including how long an individual or family has enrolled in the CityFEPS program before actually utilizing the voucher. And we thank you to our staff, Aminta Kilawan. Thank you very much for your attention. Now I would like to turn it back over to our Majority Leader.
Thank you, Speaker Adams. We're now going to move into discussion of general orders. I'm going to first call on Minority Leader Joe Borelli.
Thank you. Just a brief word about the interest rate bill we're passing. This is something normally that some of us oppose. Today, we will make an exception to that because the transition we're going to make at the next stated or the stated after that, whenever it happens, is the payment plan bill, which is something long sought. So we can still hold accountable bad actors who aren't paying their taxes. And when enough bad actors don't pay their taxes, the rest of us have to pay to make that up. But also allows people to come up with a payment plan, to agree to a plan, and then as long as they're trying earnestly to pay back what they owe to the city, we'll give them a much, much, much lower rate. So this is a win because we get to get the money that we're owed from taxpayers, And eventually we'll have a payment plan option for many of those who certainly need it. So thank you.
Thank you for your efficiency, Minority Leader. We'll now go to Councilmember Aviles.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to speak briefly about Intro 303, a bill I've sponsored and which is before you for a vote today. This bill was previously before the council in last year by Councilmember Alika Embry-Samuels, whose work I really greatly respect. As everyone in the room knows, the City Fighting Homelessness and Eviction Prevention Supplement is a critical rental assistance program for families facing eviction and homelessness. This bill will require the Department of Homeless Services and HRA to track and report the council enrollment data on the FEPS program. This is a common sense legislation that helps all of us in the room and other policymakers accurately gauge the effectiveness of the City FEPS program. Data is a critical tool we can use to help craft the best strategies to prevent homelessness and further to help us understand how we might modify existing programs to meet the needs of those enrolled. I look forward to the implementation of this law and working with advocates to make sure that we're paying attention to the picture that is painted by this forthcoming data. Thank you for your help in the passage of this legislation.
Thank you. I'll go to Councilmember Barron, followed by Councilmember Stevens.
Thank you very much. My colleagues, do you realize that you are taxing property owners and giving those who have liquor license a break on taxes? Do you realize that Madison Square Garden pays 0 taxes? And do you realize the state has a stock transfer tax? We fought for that upstate. They collect $14 to $16 billion from the stock transfer tax and rebate it all back to Wall Street, the rich. And here you come. Instead of saying 0, so you won't default, if you would have said 0 while you're working on this wonderful bill to help the good payers pay, you're going to tax them 4% and then 7 and then 12 and say we got to act else we'll default. That's why they do it late, to get you panicking. We got to hurry up and do this else we'll default. It should have been 0. Some of these are elderly who already have their mortgage paid. So their mortgage does not include any tax property. It's not in an escrow account because they paid their mortgage. They pay their taxes independently, which means this bill is going to penalize any of them for being late, the good actors for being late. In this economy, for black and brown people, particularly our seniors, you are going to be late. And because of this pandemic, give them a break. Come on, y'all. Give them a break. Don't let people tell you that we got to hurry up and do this because if we don't, we're going to default. Well, if you do 0, you don't default because you acted. And then they wouldn't have to pay it. And then when you finally get this other benevolent program, then you can add something on if you choose. But I'm voting no on those 3 resolutions.
Thank you. And I'll go to Councilmember Stevens, followed by Councilmember Ressler.
Good afternoon. LU 61 and Resol 250 from the start was a project that I supported because moving the old EMS station meant that the Highbridge community would get a much needed and brand new community center, which I fought for when I was a member of the NAC. However, as an elected, I am the voice of District 16, and after housing, one of the major complaints my office gets is quality of life complaints. And it's often about noise and, I know, less popular parking issues. And when I brought up my concerns, I did not believe that they were being heard or being taken seriously. However, after meeting and having several conversations, we were able to get a letter of commitment from the EMS stations, and they have committed to working with the council member regularly and meeting regularly, not only with the council member, but with the community board to ensure that they are hearing concerns and rectifying them in an adequate way, and to ensure that they will be good neighbors. Thus, I will be supporting this project and urge my colleagues to support it as well. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'll go to Councilmember Ressler, followed by Councilmember Frias.
Great. Thank you. Firstly, I'd like to congratulate my friend, Layla Bozorg, on her nomination to the City Planning Commission. I had the privilege of working with her in city government, and she is an excellent professional who will prioritize affordable housing and the real needs of our communities. So I want to also congratulate one of the second best borough presidents in New York City, Mark Levine, for that great nomination. And then I'd also just like to share some information on 98 3rd Avenue, which is the land use item we'll be voting on today. This was certified before the start of our new terms, but it's a gas station on one of the last manufacturing zone blocks in Borum Hill that they'll be converting into housing. 9 of the 29 units that are going to be built will be affordable at an average AMI of 68%. And in addition, the developer is committed to make a contribution of $100,000 to the Trust for Public Land to make improvements to open space and playground space at Wyckoff Gardens, the NYCHA development across the street, which we appreciate. It's critical that when developers come into our community, they address the infrastructure needs that we face. That has not happened consistently over the years, and it's something that we're looking to revise project by project. I hope that as projects certify during my term moving forward, we'll have a greater opportunity to shape them in positive ways, but I think we got this to a reasonable place in the end. So thank you for that.
Thank you. We'll now hear from Councilmember Farias.
Thank you, Majority Leader. I'm just saying a couple words in support of the adoptions of the tax interest rates that are proposed today. The council has to adopt the interest rates that are charged when property owners are late on their tax bills. We are adopting late payment interest rates that are low by pretty much every metric, lower than any interest rate you can get on a home loan, lower than recommended what's by the Banking Commission, which includes the Comptroller, Department of Finance, Commissioner, and Mayor. They are lower than what any other city charges as late payments. We are also fast-tracking a bill, as previously mentioned, Intro 524, that would allow even lower interest rates for homeowners who are struggling. This is important. We can target relief to those who need it while settling rates to effectively encourage those who can pay to pay on time. This body is making a proactive choice in determining a much lower rate than if we did not act on these percentages at all, which would have allowed a much higher, heavier fine at 7%. We are doing right by our communities, and I encourage my colleagues to vote yes.
Thank you. We'll now hear from Councilmember Yeager.
Thank you, Mr. President. 2 years ago, not in this chamber, on the Zoom, I proposed an amendment in the middle of the meeting to change the proposed interest rate to 0, as the gentleman from East New York suggested earlier. The false metrics that we're being presented with is that if we don't do it today, we don't pass these rates that have been presented to us, 4, 7, and 13, usurious, there's no question they're usurious, then the world will shut down, the city will go bankrupt, because some default rate will otherwise kick in, and we're going to be all terrible people. It's not true. It's not true. Today is the 16th. The session, the time that we have to do this is by the 30th, 14 more days. We can do it in 14 days. We can come back and do a tax penalty rate that makes sense. The Banking Commission proposed rates of 6, 12, and 18. So we're patting ourselves on the back because instead of rubber stamping the Banking Commission like we typically do, we've knocked them down a sliver, but still higher than what it was last year. So we are raising the interest rates, as the gentleman said. We're raising the interest rates. We can say we're not, but we are. And when we talk about the inflation problem that the city has, if it doesn't get its dollar now, then, well, it's going to be worth a little less in 6 months. So do the people who can't afford to pay their taxes. They have that problem too. And all we're doing is slapping a usurious rate on top of them. If they can't afford to pay their taxes, asking them to have a debt that includes an additional interest rate isn't going to make them pay their taxes any faster. So the question really is, could we accomplish the same thing, encourage people to pay their taxes by adopting the same rate that we had last year, which was 3, 6, and 13, instead of 4, 7, and 14? And why does it have to be raised more than what it was last year? I'm voting no, as my colleague will, for the reasons that I said, but also because we can do better. And the idea that we're trading it in now for a player to be named later, for a bill that we're going to fast track in a month or two, instead of just getting it right now when we're all standing here, is silly. And we can do better. So I urge you all, please, wrapping up, but please vote no on 192, 193, 194. I think we can do better for the people who sent us here. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'll hear from Councilmember Sanchez.
Hello, I would like to just speak in support, and hopefully my colleagues join me in supporting Intro 558 and Resolution 247. Together, this bill and resolution will support the New York City Council's role in New York City's rent stabilization law. We have a very limited role in the city of New York, and that is to review the findings of the New York City Housing Preservation and Development and U.S. Census's results of the Housing and Vacancy Survey to determine whether there has been a 5% vacancy rate of apartments in the city of New York, of residences in the city of New York. So the HPD and census found a vacancy rate of 4.54%, with unevenness, of course, across the city. Manhattan had the highest vacancy rate at 10%, but places like the Bronx, our lowest income places, had a vacancy rate of 0.78, and it was also exacerbated by income levels. So we received the findings of the HVS on May 16th. We had a hearing on it on June 7th, and I want to urge my colleagues, after lots of very deep and thoughtful questioning of the agency, we agree, I agree, so please join me in supporting these two pieces of legislation. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have anyone else signed up or planning to sign up for general orders? Oh, Councilmember Nurse, apologies.
Sorry, I just wanted to ask colleagues for support on LU 52 and Reso 249 for Sutter Place. It is a project I worked on with Councilmember Barron. It's 100% affordable. There's going to be nothing over 50% AMI, which is really amazing for our district. I think 3 bedrooms are going to be like 1,400 or less. And I do want to give credit to Councilmember Barron. We learned a lot working with his office on not accepting what can't be afforded. So I just wanted to give him some praise over that. So please support it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else? Please settle down. Anyone else like to speak? Okay. We're going to now move into the report of special committees.
None.
Reports of standing committees.
Report of the Committee on Finance, M63 and Resos 192 through 194, non-payment of property taxes.
Coupled on general orders.
Pre-considered LU 72 and Reso 248, tax exemption.
Coupled on general orders.
Report of the Committee on General Welfare, Intro 303A, rental assistance program reporting.
Amended and coupled on general orders.
Report of the Committee on Housing and Buildings, pre-considered Intro 558, rent stabilization laws.
Amended and coupled on general orders.
Report of the Committee on Land Use, LU 52 and Reso 249, Sutter Place.
Coupled on general orders.
LU 61 and Reso 250 and LU 62 and Reso 251, EMS station.
Coupled on general orders.
LU 63 and 64, 45, 41, Furman Avenue rezoning.
Approved with modifications and referred to the City Planning Commission pursuant to Section 197D of the New York City Charter.
LU 65 and Reso 252 and LU 66 and Reso 253, 98 3rd Avenue.
Coupled on general orders.
Report of the Committee on Rules, Privileges, and Elections. M69 and Reso 254, approving the appointment of Layla Bozorg, City Planning.
Coupled on general orders.
General Orders Calendar, Intro 179A.
Laid over, I would now ask that the clerk take a roll call vote on all of the items coupled on today's General Orders calendar.
Excuse me. Abreu.
Aye on all.
Ariola.
Aye on all.
Aviles. Ayala.
Aye on all.
Barron.
May I explain my vote? I'm voting no on 192, 193, and 194. I'm abstaining from M069 and Reso 254. I'm abstaining from M63, And I'm voting no on the Third Avenue rezoning and residence districts. He has a 50-some-odd% AMI, and yet over 69% of those units are at market rate, and the other affordable part is at 68% of the AMI, which is over the community's rate. So this is indeed not affordable, so I vote no on LU 65, Reso 254, LU 66, and Reso 253, and aye on everything else.
Thank you. Botcher.
Aye on all.
Brannan.
Aye.
Brewer.
Aye on all.
Brooks Powers.
Permission to explain my vote?
Go ahead.
I just wanted to also acknowledge that I'm pleased to hear that we will have legislation fast track to address an issue that I think is pretty near and dear to most members, especially myself, representing parts of Southeast Queens and Far Rockaway, where the property tax is a big concern. But with that, I will vote aye on all today.
Thank you. Caban.
Aye.
Carr.
No on introduction 558A and aye on the rest.
De La Rosa.
Aye on all.
Dinowitz.
Aye on all.
Farias.
I vote aye on all.
Feliz.
Aye on all.
Thank you. Gennaro.
Aye.
Gutierrez.
Aye.
Hanif.
Aye.
Hanks.
Aye on all.
Holden.
Aye.
Hudson.
Aye on all.
Joseph.
Aye on all.
Kagan.
Aye on all.
Thank you. Krishnan.
Aye on all.
Lee.
Aye on all.
Lewis.
I vote aye.
Marte.
Aye.
Thank you. Mealy.
Aye.
Menon.
Aye.
Narcisse.
I vote aye.
Thank you. Nurse.
Aye.
Osei.
I vote aye.
Palladino.
Aye on all except for intro 558.
Thank you. Rustler.
Aye.
Richardson Jordan.
Permission to explain my vote?
Go ahead.
I'm going to vote no on resolutions 192, 193, and 194. We don't need to increase the penalty rates. I just think of elderly homeowners in my district, and putting a burden on them, can't do it. I would like to commend Councilmember Nurse and Councilmember Barron for the Sutter Place, proving that it is possible to have 100% affordability. I love that a third of the project is at 30% AMI, third at 40% AMI, third at 50% AMI. Just really beautiful work. So,
thank you. One moment.
I'm aye on everything else.
Thank you. Got it. Riley.
I don't know.
Sanchez.
Aye on all.
Schulman.
Aye on all.
Stevens.
Aye on all.
Ung.
Aye on all.
Velasquez.
Permission to explain my vote?
Go ahead.
Aye on all items, but I wanted to disclose on the record that my husband is the Deputy Commissioner for DEP, and 192 through 194, the rates indirectly affect the water bill penalty rates. Thank you.
Thank you. Vernikov.
Aye on all.
Williams.
Permission to explain my vote.
Go ahead.
While I vote aye on all and know that our vote would ensure that the property rates are not higher, I just look forward to continuing to work with my colleagues to find ways to support small property owners who are struggling.
Thank you. Juan.
Aye on all.
Yeager.
May I be excused to explain my vote?
Yep, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm voting, as I said earlier, aye on all with the exception of M63, Reso 192, 193, 194. As I like consistency, and that's the way I voted every year that I've been a member of this body. With respect to the introduction that's on the agenda today, Introduction 524, which is presented to us as a stopgap, as a fix, as a fast-tracked relief measure on the way quickly to the New Yorkers who we represent, I am going to co-sponsor that as well, together with my good colleagues who have presented it. But I urge you all to read the bill and to get on it, but to read it, because it doesn't set the rate at zero. It's still punishing. It still gives the Banking Commission some kind of authority to set some kind of prime and all kinds of convoluted stuff. And I will also point out that the last year when we did something like this, we provided a COVID relief rate for those who applied. If they were affected by COVID, they can get a lower rate. 100 New Yorkers applied. 100 New Yorkers. People don't apply for this stuff. We have to help them. We have to help them help themselves. They're not filling out paperwork. We saw that with the senior citizens rent exemption. They're not filling out paperwork because it's difficult to do so, because the people that we're trying to help are elderly in many, many cases, don't have access to the internet, don't have the ability to do all this paperwork. I see my clock is going on forever, so you can't cut me off, Mr. President.
I got it going on my head.
Oh, you got the clock in your head. Okay, so that's, by the way, you should know that on this side of the room, we can actually control the clock. Oh, there you go. Look, a minute and 56 to go. I will wrap it up, Mr. President. I appreciate the good humor that you've exchanged with me. But I'm not going to take advantage of the technical glitch. Folks, I urge you to sign on to that bill, but please don't put all your hope in this basket of goods that's being presented to us as something that's going to fix the problem we did today. We did wrong by the taxpayers today, and I'm very comfortable with my vote. I did right by them. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Aviles.
I have permission to explain my vote.
Go ahead.
Yes. I vote no on Resolution 192, and vote aye on the rest. I do that with just great concern for the seniors and others who this does not reach, and wish we had proposed a more moderate increase. I know it is the lowest, I understand that, but I still feel like I wish we would have been more creative. But thank you for the work. So I think I said aye on the rest except that one. Okay.
Thank you.
I normally screw this up.
Got it. Borelli.
With the exception of Intro 558, I vote aye on all.
Thank you. Powers.
I vote aye on all.
Speaker Adams.
Aye and all.
All items on today's general order calendar are adopted by a vote of 51 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative, and 0 abstentions, with the exception of M63, which is adopted by a vote of 49 in the affirmative, 1 in the negative, and 1 abstention. M69 and Resolution 254 adopted by a vote of 50 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative, 1 abstention. Resolution 192, 47 in the affirmative, 4 in the negative, and 0 abstentions. Resolution 193, 48 in the affirmative, 3 in the negative, 0 abstentions. Resolution 194 adopted by a vote of 48 in the affirmative, 3 in the negative, 0 abstentions. Land use items 65 and 66 and accompanying resolutions 50 in the affirmative, 1 in the negative, 0 abstentions, and pre-considered introduction 558A, 48 in the affirmative, 3 in the negative, and 0 abstentions. We will now move into the remaining part of the agenda. We're going to move to the introduction and reading of bills.
All bills have been referred to committees as indicated on today's agenda.
Thank you. We'll now move into the discussion of resolutions. Are there any individuals who would like to sign up to speak on? You can shake your head, but I still have to ask. To the discussion of resolutions. Okay. Thank you. We're now going to have a voice vote on today's resolution. If you wish to vote again. Oh, excuse me. We do have one individual speaking on today's resolutions. We're going to call on Councilmember Selvina Brooks Powers.
Majority Leader, it'll be for general orders.
Okay. Thank you.
General discussion, excuse me.
Gotcha. We have you added. So we're going to now take a voice vote on today's resolution. If you wish to vote against or abstain from today's resolution, please notify the Legislative Documents Unit by email or by approaching the dais before we vote or as we vote. If you'd like to come up, you can come and do that now. I'll now read today's resolution into the record. Pre-considered Resolution 247 determines that a public emergency requiring rent control in the City of New York continues to exist and will continue to exist on and after July 1st, 2022. Will all those in favor please say aye?
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Any abstentions? The ayes have it. We're going to now move into today's general discussion. We will begin first with Councilmember Gennaro, followed by Councilmember Narcisse.
Thank you, Mr. Majority Leader. Today I'm pleased to put forward 5 bills that look to increase the efficiency of the city in addressing issues caused by climate change and help to mitigate its dangerous impacts. Intro 533, which I'm putting forward with Councilman Nurse, will require DEP to release annual reports on the presence of sewage and stormwater contaminants in the city waterways. The bill will also require DEP to develop a management plan, which with input from local communities to speak to concerns and reach green goals. Intro 531, which deals with drainage infrastructure outages. I won't go more than that, but I have a bunch here I want to get done in time. Intro 529 it would expand the type of green vehicles that DCAS can be used to purchase for city use. Intro 532 would require DEP to create a plan for establishing the city's coastal waters as vessel no discharge zone. And Intro 530 would require DEP to alert our community boards and our offices 48 hours in advance of any work that DEP will undertake that could lead to discolored water or reduction in water pressure. Finally, I've got a resolution, Resolution 239, which urges the state to pass and the governor to sign Senate 1075 and the Assembly 6319, also known as the Rape is Rape bill. This bill has been passed 10 times in the Assembly, most recently in January of this year, but is not moving in the Senate. Currently, New York State penal law defines a rape only as a forced vaginal penetration of a woman by a man. New York State's rape definition does not include forced oral or anal penetration by a man to a woman, does not include the rape of a man at all, and does not include forced penetration with an object. The state bill would expand the definition of rape in New York State. I'm running out of time. I just want to thank the Gay Men's Health Crisis, Women in Need, and Womankind for this important initiative, and I think the council should go on the record and
Councilor
support
Jones.
this. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll go to Councilmember Narcisse, followed by Councilmember Ressler.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm asking my colleagues to join me to sponsor two bills that I have introduced, Intro 0543 and Intro 542. 0542 would require the Department of Education, the Administration for Children's Services, and the Department of Correction to issue a yearly report on educational statistics and related incidents pertaining to juvenile delinquents and juvenile offenders and adolescent offenders and ACS and DOC facilities. This report must include statistics on educational programming, enrollment, available services, rate of violence for such delinquents and offenders, and other related indicators. 053 aims to help our students who have experienced a tremendous amount of mental trauma throughout the COVID pandemic by requiring the Department of Health and Mental Hygiene, in consultation with the Department of Education and the Administration of Children's Services, to establish protocols for responding to students experiencing mental health crisis. The protocols will include guidelines for immediate response, procedures for returning to school, training requirements, and protecting the safety and well-being of the student body. Our young people are indeed our most precious asset, and we must nurture and care for them. As such, I hope you will join me in co-sponsoring the two important pieces of legislation. I would also like to briefly recognize the upcoming celebration, like my speaker, Adrian Adams, just mentioned, Juneteenth. On July 19, 1965, thousands of black slaves working the fields of Texas and other southern states received the late news that their freedom had been withheld from them for more than 6 months by rebellious slave masters who had refused to acknowledge the Emancipation Proclamation by President Abraham Lincoln. So on Sunday, as we commemorate and celebrate Juneteenth, it is important for us to remain cognizant of the fact that the true freedom, including economic freedom, are still an elusive dream for millions of black Americans who continue to be denied their rights and equal opportunity in the body of America. So, as we officially commemorated Juneteenth for only the second year in our city, I ask that we all pledge to reaffirm our commitment to achieve the true freedom in America. Thank you so much. God bless you.
Thank you. We're going to now hear from Councilmember Ressler, followed by Councilmember Osei.
Firstly, I'd like to thank the Speaker for keeping our attention on the real need to address education funding in this budget. The budget didn't do enough. The mayor needs to hear loud and clear from all of us and from our communities that this needs to be fixed. It is my #1 priority, and I really want to thank her for helping us lead the way and appreciated her remarks very much today. I'd also like to speak on helicopters. New Yorkers shouldn't be forced to suffer from severe noise and air pollution so that the privileged few can get to the Hamptons or JFK faster, or so tourists can see Brooklyn Bridge Park from above. Yet every day, helicopters take off from public helipads to serve the extremely wealthy at the expense of our environment and our well-being. This isn't just a quality of life issue, it's a climate issue. Every month, there are roughly 4,000 non-essential helicopter flights from our EDC-owned, New York City-owned helipads, accounting for a monthly average of more than 50,000 gallons of fuel spewed into the air. There's no other form of transportation that's nearly as wasteful. One helicopter idling on the heliport has the same impact as more than 40 cars idling. Also, a Wall Street banker can avoid taking his car, let alone public transit. Tourist helicopters are even more wasteful as they circle and idle in the air, burning fuel and causing noise pollution that can impact our health and cognitive development. Today, I'm introducing a bill to ban non-essential flights from the 2 EDC-owned heliports in Manhattan, with the leader on this issue, Gail Brewer from the Upper West Side, and our Economic Development Chair, Amanda Farias, as well as Council Members Hanif, Aviles, Hudson, Gutierrez, Marte, and Rivera. And then just briefly, I'm proud to be a co-prime on the Public Advocates Bill to ban solitary confinement. Solitary confinement is torture. It has no place in our city. It must stop. It must end. And I'm very hopeful that we can pass Jamani's bill as soon as possible. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll now call on Councilmember Osei, followed by Councilmember Dinowitz.
Thank you, Majority Leader. Improper containerization of trash is an issue that plagues my district and a large part of our city. When trash is not properly containerized, especially trash from large apartment complexes, litter is scattered all over the sidewalk. This is not only an aesthetic nuisance, it is unsanitary, attracting rodents. Currently, the penalty for improper waste containerization is from $50 to $200, depending on the number of violations. For buildings with management companies and big landlords, this amount is considered to be pocket change, not a lesson learned to deter one from engaging in improper behaviors. To have cleaner and healthier streets, we must make sure that we truly hold bad actors accountable. This is why I'm introducing Intro 544 today with Sanitation Committee Chair Sandy Nurse that will impose a graduated sanitation violation based on the number of units in a building and the number of repeat violations. I also do want to talk about a disagreement that I had with a member of this body. At the beginning of this month, we acknowledged the month of Pride, which is a celebration and a respect for LGBTQ folks, not only in this room, but across our city. And yesterday, on the Bird app, also known as Twitter, I had a disagreement with a colleague about Drag Queen Story Hour, which is a culture program that teaches youth about gender diversity, respect, love, and dignity. I wish this member was in the room today to hear what I was saying and be as confident as she was online as she could have been in this room. This colleague called progressives, as well as queer performers, and also uplifted comments against me, calling me and all of us groomers. If any of you don't know what the word groomer means, it's basically calling individuals pedophiles. This colleague called a member of this body, her colleague, a pedophile, myself, a pedophile. These statements are untrue. I condemn these statements, and I hope that this colleague takes into account how serious this issue is, not only for me, but how she disrespected the LGBTQ community in the month of Pride. I demand that she makes a public apology, again, not only to me, but to the entire LGBTQ community, and I hope this body can hold her accountable for her disrespect and her lies that she spread online. Thank you.
We're now going to call on Councilmember Dinowitz, followed by Councilmember Brewer.
Thank you, Majority Leader. I want to bring attention to two resolutions I'm introducing today, both which aim to bring important reforms to our institutions of higher education. Education is supposed to be a great equalizer, but if that to be the case, our colleges and universities cannot have inequitable barriers to entry. And if our campuses are to be a safe space for students, our colleges and universities must have the necessary tools to ensure that. The first resolution, Reso 237, calls on the state legislature to pass and the governor to sign the Fair College Admission Act, which would prohibit legacy preference and early admission policies at undergraduate institutions. Legacy preference in admission gives a significant leg up to applicants with familial ties to alumni, and as a result, many selective universities enroll more children of alumni than either Black or Latino students. And applying early decision also gives those students with financial flexibility the equivalent of 100 added bonus points on the SAT, which results in an average of 24 wealthy students for each low-income student at elite institutions. The second resolution, 238, calls upon the City University of New York to compile data on bias incidents and hate crimes reported into a single report, contain more specific information about the nature of these acts, and importantly, to educate faculty and staff about the rise of such incidents and how to report them. We're in a time where we're seeing an increase of hate crimes and acts of hate in our city. Our CUNY campuses are not immune to this trend. We must have detailed data, not only to understand it, but how to provide meaningful education. And This includes, by the way, this includes hurtful and harmful language, that including words and terms that harm the LGBTQ community, like groomer, which my colleague just mentioned. It fear-mongers, it hurts people, it hurts entire groups of people. And universities are supposed to be places of learning, not just of academics, but how we live together, love, and appreciate one another. So I hope you all sign on to these two critically important resolutions that will reverse trends of inequity and bias in our colleges and universities. Thank you.
We had Councilmember Brewer, followed by Councilmember Schulman.
Thank you very much. On the education front, I too want to thank the speaker and look forward to working with the Education Committee, Rita Joseph, and with the staff. I do think that with $5 billion and a very large sum in different pots, certainly not broken up into U of A's, we will be able to figure out how to address the concerns that my parents have and parents across the city, not to mention the school communities themselves. Number two, I want to thank Councilmember Ressler. I've been working on helicopters and noise and their fuelage for many, many years. I just want to point out the extent of this concern. If you look at 311, which is just one data set that, just like all of you, I feel very strongly about data. Last year, 2021, I don't know if there was anything, maybe housing, that has such a large response. 26,000 unrelated helicopter complaints regarding noise to 311, and 21,600 came from Manhattan. And then this year, January till May of this year, 10,000 complaints to 311, 7,400 from Manhattan. As we speak, there is an RFP going out for the Manhattan Wall Street heliport, and there's no reason why that RFP should include non-essential helicopters for the operator. Number two, as Councilmember Bottcher knows, we've all been fighting to not have a heliport in a park, Hudson River Park. So this is the time to address this issue. We can't take care of New Jersey. We would love to have those. I've flown in the helicopter with no windows or doors to take the tourism. It's ridiculous to have them flying over New York, but at least try with those that are in our purview. Number three, I have Intro 525, which would basically deal with this issue of the theft of catalytic converters from cars and trucks. I assume some of you have that same problem in your districts. They steal, they sell them in junkyards and chop shops because of the precious metals found inside. I have so many complaints about this, and obviously those that participate in this particular bill would be subject to increased fines and other kinds of specifics. I just want to enter the fact that one of the complaints that's coming from is the nonprofit community delivering meals, and when they get there to deliver the meal in the truck where people are waiting, there is no catalytic converter. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We're going to now hear from Councilmember Schulman, followed by Councilmember Bottcher.
Yes, thank you, Majority Leader. I want to echo the sentiments of my colleague Chiosei, who I believe actually was really measured. I want to say that we can disagree with each other in this body, and that's fine. But once we get to the level where we create comments that incite violence against us, that's not appropriate, totally inappropriate. And I have never felt as vulnerable as I have today. When I ran in 2009, I was threatened, and I had to go to the police, and they arrested the person. And I haven't felt as vulnerable as I do today, because there are comments on here telling me all kinds of stuff that are going to be done to me, that was things I should do to myself, that I'm deranged, and that is not appropriate at all. And that was because, not because a colleague disagreed with me, because she actually said that people as part of the LGBTQ community are deranged, and that is totally inappropriate for this body and for the city.
Thank you, Councilmember. We're going to hear now from Councilmember Bottcher, followed by Councilmember Caban.
Today I am introducing legislation that will provide mental health services in family shelters. We all know that our city is experiencing a unprecedented housing crisis, which has led to a terrible number of our fellow New Yorkers being unhoused. What most people don't know is that nearly 2/3 of homeless New Yorkers are families with children. 8,400 families with more than 14,000 children slept in shelters last night. So we've got to ensure that they have safe and secure housing, but we also have to ensure that they have the services they need, including mental health care. Currently, families are referred to outside clinics for mental health services, and long wait times, operating hours that fail to accommodate their schedules further increase roadblocks to appropriate care. So our legislation would require that the city offers these services to families within shelters. I want to thank WIN NYC and its executive director, Chris Quinn, for bringing this issue to us and helping us to develop this legislation, and co-prime sponsors Ayala, Osei, and Rivera. Meeting this critical need is an important step in breaking the cycle of homelessness that's affecting generations of New Yorkers. I've got to also speak out about the extremely harmful rhetoric that has been used by a member of this body. I cannot think of a more nauseating term than the term groomer. That's what child molesters do. They cultivate trust with someone they're about to victimize. Enough of that word, enough of this rhetoric.
Thank you, Councilmember. We're going to now hear from Councilmember Caban, followed by Councilmember Abreu.
I'm going to start by saying that I'm proud to co-sponsor on the Halt Solitary bill that received introduction today. Also proud to be introducing Intro 526, which would guarantee free childcare at every public meeting where it's requested. I'll talk more with folks about how important that is, especially in the world we're in now, where we're all being asked to come back in person. But as much as I want to continue discussing legislation, I feel called to take a moment to address the repugnant remarks of my Queens delegation colleague and the disrespect from our colleagues who left the room and aren't here to listen to the pain that we're feeling in this moment. As a queer New Yorker and as co-chair of the LGBTQIA+ caucus, let me say that Drag Queen Story Hour NYC is a wonderful, wholesome, vital program, inviting colorfully, playfully dressed performers to read our children's stories is an invitation for our kids to dress up, to explore, to see themselves as unique individuals with the right to be however they want to be in the world. It shows queer youth and their peers alike that each of them is valid, that they all belong, that we all belong. And so as a career public safety advocate, I have to add that it's exactly this kind of program that gets to the root causes of hate and prevents violence down the road. That is that Drag Queen Story Hour NYC is not only a great educational program, it's an important piece of public safety infrastructure. By contrast, my colleagues' groomer rhetoric poses a danger to public safety. Casting this worthy, enriching program as a form of child abuse is an incitement to violence against our queer and trans neighbors, friends, and family. And it cannot be tolerated ever, especially now, at a time when queer and trans youth are being targeted for violence, discrimination, and forced genital inspection regimes everywhere across the country. And so I call on my colleague to apologize and to renounce such hate speech going forward. And I want to thank everybody else in this room who is holding space for us. Thank you.
Thank you. We're going to now hear from Councilmember Abreu, followed by Councilmember Feliz.
It's really hard to follow the very powerful testimony of my colleagues. Just want you to know my heart and thoughts are with you all. I'll just go right into it. As chair of the Committee on State and Federal Legislation, I am honored to be introducing legislation with my colleagues that would combat the iron pipeline and come up with new innovative solutions to deal with gun violence from the guns already in our neighborhoods. I'd like to thank our co-sponsors, Camilla Hanks, Public Safety Chair, Deputy Speaker Ayala, Majority Leader Keith Powers, Majority Whip Sylvina Brooks Powers, Councilmember Feliz and Riley, Salamanca, Velasquez, Linda Lee, and Pirina Sanchez. Importantly, this legislation will include vital information at the dealer level, allowing us to name and shame dealers that are not properly running background checks, adhering to waiting periods, or otherwise allowing for the flow of guns into our city. But our bill goes further than simply addressing the flow of guns. We know what leads to gun violence, not investing in prevention methods like youth programming, mental health support, and the critical infrastructure and environmental design elements that have been shown to reduce gun violence. I want to note that next Friday, June 24th at 10 a.m., the Committee on Public Safety and Committee on State and Federal Legislation will hold a joint oversight hearing on access to firearms and city and state efforts to curb gun violence. I encourage my colleagues to attend and to testify. I'd like to thank the Speaker's Office for placing faith in me to execute on this bill and for the assignment to this bill. Thank you, Madam Speaker. And I'd like to thank the drafter, Jesse Fuong, and also my Chief of Staff, Amber Moore, and my Deputy Chief of Staff, Jaleesa Quigley. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'll hear from Councilmember Feliz, followed by Councilmember Riley.
Thank you, Majority Leader. Let me start by also saying that I stand with all my colleagues in standing against all types of hate. Today I have the honor of introducing an education legislative package together with Majority Leader Keith Powers, Chair Justin Brannan, Chair Rita Joseph, and so many other colleagues. A package to improve opportunity for students in our educational system. Our children have unlimited potential, and we must give them every single tool so that they can be prepared for every step of their educational journey. Our public education system has over 1 million students. And for far too long, many students, including low-income students of color, have lacked access to schools that we usually refer to as elite or Ivy League high schools. For example, in 2020, Stuyvesant High School admitted 700 students, and only 10 of them were African American, and only 20 were Hispanic. 760 students admitted, and only 10 African Americans and 20 Hispanics were offered admissions. This legislative package will help resolve that problem of lack of access to these schools, by requiring that the Department of Education create a plan to offer courses to prepare every single middle school student for the specialized high school admission test. Many students go through middle school without even ever having heard of that test. I actually heard about it for the first time when I was in college. And the same is true for many students in the district that I represent, also in the borough of the Bronx, and many students in the city of New York. For many reasons, including the fact that their family is navigating the education process for the first time. These bills, this package, this education legislative package, will ensure that students receive the guidance and preparation they need and they deserve so that no door is closed to them. And I'm looking very forward to working with all my colleagues and making these bills a reality and legislation in the state of New York. Thank you so much.
Thank you. We're going to hear now from Councilmember Riley, followed by Councilmember Brooks Powers.
Thank you, Majority Leader. The FDNY is the second largest fire department in the world. New York's bravest protecting and serving New Yorkers across all 5 boroughs. We are grateful for your service, the sacrifices, but historically there is an undeniable injustice when it comes to diversity and inclusion within the organization. Today I'm proud to introduce 2 pieces of legislation with Bronx Borough President Vanessa Gibson that will enhance inclusion and promote cultural competency in the workplace. Intro 552 calls for an annual report of the demographics of fire department members of firehouses, calling for future transparency in gender, race, and ethnicity, as well as the number of individuals who reside in the area in which each firehouse serves. Intro 553 requires a plan for ongoing training on harassment, inclusion, and diversity for all fire department members and staff. It also encourages accountability in seeking a report that demonstrates how the department is implementing that training. Representation matters. There are a lot going on each and every day. Brave heroes in our underserved communities of color wanting to make a difference. There are young boys and young girls who don't believe these opportunities are easily accessible to them because they lack representation within their firehouses. Being a woman or a mother shouldn't determine one's ability to serve as a firefighter. Gender identity shouldn't be a hurdle in becoming a fire officer. There are some of the New York's bravest in our community. When Black and brown communities can see themselves, people from their communities who serve and protect them, we build trust. We build relationships and we build community. Intro 552 and 553 will seek to go further than just changing the numbers. We will bring sustainable change to the work culture in the fire department, strengthening the standards for inclusion in all NYC workplaces. Thank you.
Thank you. We're going to hear now from Councilmember Brooks Powers, followed by Councilmember Hanif.
Thank you. I'd like to take a moment to speak in support of two bills I'm introducing today. First, in partnership with Councilmember Abreu and several of our colleagues, I'm proud to be a co-sponsor of Intro 518, which will require a report on trafficking of illegal firearms. New Yorkers deserve streets free of violence, which is why we must do everything possible to address the gun violence epidemic. We know that many guns come to the 5 boroughs via the Iron Pipeline, which illegally transport weapons, mainly from southern states, and enables unspeakable violence here at home. This bill will centralize the information we have on this pipeline and help this council determine how we can effectively curtail the flow of firearms into our communities. I'm also proud to introduce Resolution 235 in partnership with Councilmember Sandy Nurse, which was the product of our transportation tour of her district earlier this year. We know now that lead paint is an extreme hazard to our health and physical safety, but in many neighborhoods with elevated train structures, lead paint is an ever-present hazard. A recent sample from the elevated JMZ line in Councilwoman Nurse's district reached 63,000 parts per million, 12 times the allowable rate. This is an issue of environmental health and safety, and we must address this disproportionate impact on communities of color. I urge my colleagues to join us on Reso 235 and call for the MTA to remediate its elevated structures and help protect New Yorkers' quality of life. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll now hear from Councilmember Hanif, followed by Councilmember Hanks.
Thank you so much. I had some bills that I want to talk about, but you'll receive an email about that. So I just want to just share how painful it is to listen to these testimonies coming from my queer colleagues, and I want to lift up the courageous words my colleagues, council members Osei, Shulman, Bottcher, Caban have shared with us, and want to raise my voice in condemning the vitriolic rhetoric that a colleague of this body is spewing, inviting violent, transphobic, and homophobic attacks across the internet, that too during the month of Pride. Our celebration of Pride and the queer movement should include educating every single member of this body on the continued fight for the safety of queer New Yorkers. We can't say we are committed to just fighting what's happening outside of New York, and we know what's happening outside of New York, criminalizing queerness, and criminalizing sexual and gender identity within our curriculums, and transitioning youth who are transitioning. New York is the birthplace of the queer movement, and I urge this body for our unwavering support of our queer colleagues and the queer community, including queer youth, queer folks who are incarcerated, queer immigrants, and more. We are not always going to agree in this council, which was mentioned, but we owe it to one another to treat each other with basic dignity. I also want to lift up our trans community and our trans young people and share that I am proud to have funded Drag Queen Story Hour in fiscal year 23, and I sure as hell plan on funding them in fiscal year 24 and however long I'm here. Thank you.
Thank you. We're going to go now to Councilmember Hanks, followed by Councilmember Nurse.
Thank you, Majority Leader. I would like to echo the sentiment of Councilmember Hanif
yes, you know, I was introducing my first bills today, but it is truly important to make sure that we all rise and raise our voices to hate and discrimination. And so I echo the sentiments of my colleagues, and I have tremendous respect and love for Councilmember Carr, who stayed, who's here. As a stepmom of a trans child, this kind of rhetoric is what these young people are, you know, feeling of not being validated, and it causes them to take their lives. It causes them to be depressed. And we think it doesn't matter, but it does. Everything that you say matters. Words matter. And so I am truly devastated that our colleague is spewing this kind of rhetoric. So I am going to also email you my statements of my bills to pass that along, to make sure that we do not, you know, pass on this moment to speak out and speak loud against hate.
Thank you, Councilmember. I'm going to now go to Councilmember Nurse.
Thank you. I was going to talk about Save the Planet bills, but I'm not going to do that. I just want to also express in solidarity my disappointment and quite frankly disgust with the behavior of Councilmember Vicky Palladino. And I think New York sometimes we think we're in a safe little bubble, but we're not. Just this last week, 30 armed fascists went to a Pride event, and they were pulled over before they got there. We don't even know what would have happened if they arrived. We're watching right now at the national level a justice process about an attack on our nation. And many New Yorkers went down there to participate in that on January 6th. So we are not in a little progressive bubble at all. And that language does incite violence. In DC, we had Pizzagate. I don't know if you all remember, where pedophilia and groomer language led to a shooter who went into this place and shot people. So this is not a joke, and what happens on social media can no longer be taken as lightly. And I just want to say to all of our queer LGBTQA members here, I love you. I truly love you. I'm so, so grateful to be in this council with you. And I would have your back, and I would have the back of any member in this body who is facing violent rhetoric or violent attacks, no matter where or what side of the spectrum you are on politically. So I just want to say I'm sorry that this happened to you, and I'm sorry that these members were not brave enough to stand here and face this. And they should. They should come back here and apologize. So thank you so much.
Thank you. And I hear from Councilmember Aviles, followed by Councilmember Sanchez.
So I too stand in full support and solidarity of my colleague, Chiose, and the LGBTQ community here, inside these chambers and outside in the community, in condemning this disgusting behavior of Councilmember Vicky Palladino. Don't be confused. This is not criticism or a difference of opinion. This is defamation. This is violence. This is hate speech. And this is not the first time she's done it. She has also spewed racist remarks very candidly on social media. I expect that this body and our leadership will strongly and publicly condemn these comments. And we may want to consider fully funding Drag Queen Story Hour in every New York City public school across. We stand with you, and like my incredible council colleague, Sandy Nurse, I too love you and will stand with you every step of the way.
Thank you. And I go to Councilmember Sanchez, followed by Councilmember.
Okay, thank you. Yes, I just wanted to speak in solidarity of my colleagues as well. I love you too. You have so much love in this council. We're with you, and we're going to stay here, and we're going to fight for you We're going to fight alongside you. And I'm sorry that this is coming from this body. So, love you guys.
Thank you. We'll go now to Councilmember Krishnan.
Thank you. I also wanted to add my voice to the absolutely abhorrent comments by Councilmember Palladino. This has no place in our city, in our communities, and let alone in the body of government. I want everyone and all our colleagues to together to send the message loud and clear that to all our LGBTQIA colleagues, and in particular to Councilmember Osei, that we are here with you all. We will fight by your side to make sure that we rid this council chamber and our city of the kind of hate and intolerant comments that we have heard and seen and read about in these last few days. It has no place here. And I say it as someone also from Queens, from Jackson Heights, the birthplace of the LGBTQIA+ movement in Queens. As someone who finds Drag Queen Story Hour beloved, and also I've expanded it and doubled it in my community for this year, which is what we should be doing in every district. And I say it as a father of 2 young children who have attended Drag Queen Story Hour, and who I know, like all our children, must be exactly learning the values that Drag Queen Story Hour and drag culture espouses: love, pride, and joy. That is what we reflect all together. That is a love that we send to all our colleagues affected by this hate. We will send that message loud and clear. Thank you.
Thank you. We're now going to hear from Councilmember Gutierrez, followed by Councilmember Menon.
Well, if you don't know by now, I love Chi. He is my neighbor in my district in Brooklyn and my neighbor here at Chambers. I too want to just elevate the comments by all of our colleagues who are in support of calling out this bigoted behavior and commentary. I think talking about stuff on social media has a serious impact. As a sister of a queer New Yorker, I would be absolutely proud to continue to stand with my queer colleagues, because all of our words have impacts. And an I'm sorry later is not gonna cut it. The damage has already been done. And as the mother of a 6-month-old, I can't wait to bring my baby to Drag Queen Story Hour when she can understand it, because it is a beautiful program that teaches us about diversity, literacy, inclusion, and reinstilling that it is okay to be exactly who you are, to be beautiful, to be colorful, and to be unapologetic. And the only apologies that I think matter right now are from Councilmember Vicky Palladino. It is not the Queen's way, and we know that. So I want to extend my solidarity to all the members who are offended, but particularly Chi, Councilmember Osei, as chair of the cultural committee here. I think he has been absolutely graceful in his response, and she has been the complete opposite. So I hope that we collectively can hold her accountable, and I also demand an apology. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll now hear from Councilmember Menon, followed by Councilmember Wan.
Thank you. I just wanted to speak in solidarity with my colleagues. I'm a proud supporter of Drag Queen Story Hour. I fund them with $10,000 in 3 public libraries in my district. And I also want to say the number of comments since I've been a council member in January that I received about Drag Queen Story Hour from my constituents who are huge supporters of it, who asked me to make sure to fund it again, was incredible. And hate is hate, and the first thing when there is hate speech is to condemn it and to call it out. And so many of these colleagues here have had my back when there have been anti-Semitic incidents in my district. I just want you to know I have your back, and there's absolutely no place for this at all.
Thank you. We'll now hear from Councilmember Wan.
I am absolutely horrified by the behavior of my colleague towards my other colleagues, whom I dearly love as well. And I think it is only appropriate that there are actual tangible actions taken, like an oversight hearing and an investigation on my colleague, especially in the Ethics Committee by Councilmember Yeager, because I think this is not something to take lightly, especially when it is violence that is incited upon other colleagues. And I do think that it is necessary because it's also an HR violation as well. And for those who have stepped out of the room in support of homophobes or homophobic behavior or anti-trans rhetoric, I think that is also something that should be taken very seriously as well. So I hope that this is a conversation that continues to make sure that we are not allowing this to continue on in our city nor in our council, especially by other council members that represent thousands of New Yorkers. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'll hear from Councilmember De La Rosa.
Well, I just also wanted to express solidarity with my colleagues. I want to say that it's shameful that these words and these comments, and they were doubled down on by Councilmember Vicky Palladino. We have a responsibility here as public servants to comport ourselves with a level of respect and dignity for everyone in this chamber, no matter where we are in our beliefs, no matter how we live our lives. And I want to apologize, since she didn't have the nerve to stay here. I want to apologize for the hurt that has been inflicted on our colleagues today. But I also want to say that as a mother of a young child, children do not know hate. We teach hate through our actions. And we have a responsibility here to make sure that our kids are loving and are able to love themselves as much as they love each other. So this is not just about comments on a Twitter page. This is about what we're teaching the next generation of children who are watching us right now, live and in living color. So I love you guys. I will fight with you, but also there have to be consequences, because this is not about a freedom of speech. This is about hate speech and how we condemn it. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to let Councilmember Hudson finish, but I just want to also offer my support, my full support to all my colleagues who feel or feel attacked and harmed right now. And I'm very proud to call you all my friends and colleagues, and really proud of the work that you guys do every single day. And I'm very sorry that if you feel hurt and attacked right now. And with that, I want to offer Councilmember Hudson to say the last word.
Thank you. And I specifically asked the Majority Leader to go last because I was expecting Vicky to be in here, and I wanted to make sure that I had time to calm down after all of the remarks. But I just want to unequivocally condemn her flagrant homophobic and transphobic comments. These attacks on our community and on my colleagues in the LGBTQIA+ caucus should never be tolerated by this body. It doesn't matter that this is Pride Month, because our capes do not come off on July 1st. And yes, I said capes, because to be the first or the only to be out and proud, to stand tall in the face of the type of bigotry and hatred that all members of the LGBTQIA+ community face, but particularly the type that Black and brown trans women, gender nonconforming, femme, and non-binary folks experience, takes a superhero-like courage every single day. It wasn't long ago that I myself was called a faggot while walking into a press conference to condemn the burning of a pride flag at a gay bar in Harlem. The irony has never been lost on me. And to know that I walk into these chambers every week having taken an oath to uphold the charter of the city and the Constitution of the state, while a colleague who has taken the same oaths has the audacity to bring such hatred into these halls is infuriating. If we don't speak up now, New York City will no longer be the beacon of hope we have known it to be. The LGBTQIA+ caucus may be small, but we are mighty. When you come for one of us, you come for all of us. And let me be clear to my colleagues who call themselves allies. I don't want to see anyone at another pride parade, a march, rally, a gay bar, or party if you have not condemned the bigotry and hate that we are currently facing. I urge this body to demonstrate strength in the face of hate and take immediate action to make it clear that these remarks are unacceptable in the council or anywhere. And thank you to all of the colleagues who have spoken up. Thank you to my colleagues in the caucus for sharing their stories. Thanks, Majority Leader.
Thank you, Councilmember Hudson. I'm going to now call on Speaker Adrian Adams to close out today's stated meeting.
Well, Councilmember Hudson, I guess.
Before I do
I was
that,
gonna say I get
sorry.
the last word, but I will defer
But
to the
Speaker,
majority leader.
I was asked to make an announcement that the Queen's delegation is supposed to be meeting immediately after this, so please go there right after.
I am so proud of my colleagues in these chambers, and just so honored that you took the opportunity for the space that you were provided today to speak your minds on such abhorrent, embarrassing, and disgraceful display on social media. Councilmember Carr, we truly thank you for staying. You could have left, but you stayed. We thank you for staying in these chambers. The remarks were reprehensible. Condemnation is a word. Action is a movement. This body strongly condemns hate and hate speech on every level presented. We are here to protect the public, not to harm the public. We are here as examples to New Yorkers, to our families, to generations that will come after us, standing in great chambers like this. As Speaker of this New York City Council, the word condemn, again, is just a word, but I will use it in respect of my colleagues that asked for it today. I condemn the words, the hate speech thrown out cavalierly by our colleague. My heart hurts for my colleague Lynn Schumann, who I have seen moved to tears today, and as I fight back my own and thinking about her and her struggle. This will not be the last word on this topic and on this subject matter. The stated meeting of the June 16, 2022 meeting is hereby adjourned.